Yeah. Good evening, friends. In the last class, we discussed about the theories and approaches to study political sociology, and in which we studied about Karl Marx, and also we studied the approaches of uh, uh, Max Weber, as well as we studied the approaches of modern approaches. Those are called behavioral approach and non-behavioral approach, and so on. So, in this class, and we will be primarily dealing with the aspects of political system, political process, and political socialization. So, why we are studying these aspects? And because these aspects are very important, and it stands as the core concepts of political sociology discourse. So, therefore, these concepts are very important for us to have an understanding about the major concepts in the field of political sociology. Therefore, in this class, we will be discussing about what is the meaning of political system, what is the meaning of political process, and what is the meaning of political socialization. So, we'll be discussing these aspects which in a much more detailed manner in this class, right? So, when I'm using the word system, right? So, what is a system? So a system means, and you have a different, generally we use this word called system very knowingly or unknowingly in our day-to-day language also. System means what? System indicates it's an integrated whole of various parts. In other words, the integration of various parts is called system. The integration of various parts is called system. For example, you computer system. So what is a computer system? Computer system has the monitor, the CPU, keyboard, mouse, and the internal parts of the CPU system, and so on. So all these parts constitutes a system. Therefore, we are using the word computer system to designate the characteristics of the computer system. So whenever we use the word, for example, our system, the body as a system. So what the body constitutes, when we use the word, for example, we have a respiratory system, we have a, the digestive system, and, all this. So what constitutes here? When it comes to the body as a whole system, so this body indicates it's an integrated parts of the whole, right? So this it means what? This body has, the sense organs, the body has the heart, the liver, the lungs, and the kidneys, and pancreas, and digestive system, so to speak. All this constitutes the integrity of those parts are called body, human body, right? So the system here indicates the integration of various parts, right? So the integration of the various parts are called system. So in this integration of various parts, so all parts plays an important role, right? So all parts play an important role for the maintenance and the well-being of the system, right? Suppose, in our human body, if you take the, which part is more important, every part is more important. You cannot say this part is important, this part is less important. It is not that. So each part has its own significance in order to function the whole body, isn't it? So so that's why, and when we use the word system, as I said, it means that it indicates the integration and various parts. The various parts is called the system, and this among this system, so each part has a huge role to play for the maintenance of the system, and each part works in coordination, in a mutual reciprocal relation with the other parts. So it is not that, when it comes to our human body, so these hands and legs and the internal body parts, they don't exist in isolation, right? So they all work in conjunction with other parts. So in a way that each part has a huge role to play for the sustenance of the system, right? So that the all this constitutes system, right? So when we use the word, then what is political system? And of course, we also use the word social system very invariably in sociology discourse. So what is the social system? In the social system, what are the institutions that constitutes, for example, let us begin with the family, right? Family, school, employment sector, and church, the temples, masjid, all the churches, for example. And again, when it comes to the role of the state, government, again, it has its various departments. So all these are social systems. All these are the parts, and organs of the social system. So all these organs within the social system works in coordination with another. So all these social all these organs in the social system, they work in a reciprocal relation, right, with other organs in the social system, right? So family can a family live in isolation, in the keeping away from the society? No. So family lives according to the norms and the values of the society. And again, in this, whenever we use the word society, it indicates the all other social institutions. For example, education, health, government, religion, and of course the state. And again, when we use the word state, and it has its various bureaucratic organizations. So all the organizations, when we combine together, we are calling that system as a social system, right? So the system here, the social system here indicates that integration of all these institutions. Why there is an integration? Because if there is no integration, what is going to happen? So if there is no integration, there will be a lot of social turbulence, the lot of social disturbance in society, right? These functions, these all institutions, they work in coordination with other for the integrity of the society, for the well maintenance of the social system, to keep the social harmony in society, isn't it? So this is called the system. This is called the system. This is called the social system. Therefore, when we use the word political system, applying the same logic to political system. And when we are using the word political system, we are clearly and vehemently indicating that we are using that category to political institutions. So what is the political institutions here? First, you have a government, the role of the state, and you have a political parties, and you have individuals, and the various pressure groups. All this constitutes the political system, right? So this entire political system, the entire these organs in this political system is called. It makes a huge set of system. That system we are calling it as a political system. All these organs in the political system, each has its own role to play, for the integrity, for the well maintenance of the system. And of course, all these systems sometimes, they also complain, right? They complain, and we have to address that issue. For example, do you take the example of our own human body, right? Suppose if there is a headache, right? So what we do? So we address that issue. So headache is the issue, So we address that issue. So we take some tablets why we are taking the tablet? It is not only addressing the problem of the headache, but also we are asking this head to function well, to perform well in the human body. For suppose if there is no if there is a dysfunction among the particular organ, what happens? There will be a total collapse. A collapse in the sense, if one particular organ doesn't perform well, right? So it leads to disturbances to other organs also. So what it will lead to? It will lead to a total destruction of the system, isn't it? That brings a lot of health issues, right? It affects to other organs. It affects to other organs. Suppose if there is a kidney problem in the human body, right? So the kidney problem leads to many other issues, isn't it? So that we have to address that issue, where very clearly and vehemently. In the same way, when we are using the word social system or political system, of course there will be an issues among the particular organs, but that issue must be addressed for the well maintenance of the integrity of the social system, right? So here in this concept, So more primarily in the sociological discourse, this political system, as a concept, plays an important role in order to understand the various concepts in political sociology discourse, right? So as I said that this a system is an integrated whole of various parts, right? Similarly, when we are using the same logic to social system, the social system is a set of integrated functioning of various units in society, right? So each function has its own social significance for the maintaining of wellness and the integrity, bringing social harmony in the whole system, right? Similarly, political system here indicates is a collectivity of political institutions. It's a collectivity of political institutions. The political system here indicates it's an integrity of various political institutions, right? So what are those institutions? For example, the government, right? And you have an associations, for example, the political parties, and you have organizations and pressure groups. They're all based on they work according to the set of norms and goals, right? So this political system indicates that it is also described as a collectivity of political institutions and associations which administrate the society through power and compelling conformity to the existing system of authority, right? So whenever we are using the word system, it indicates that it's an integration of various parts. That integration of various parts, that those work according to the norms and values of the society in order to maintain the integrity and harmony of the system, right? So particularly in the political sociology discourse, the political scientists, the political and social science thinkers have explained a lot about the phenomenon of politics through understanding the concept of political system, right? So as we discussed in the last class, that Marx talked about the society on the basis of mode of production, and in fact, he divided the modes of production of the historical discourse into various periods, right? So we discussed in the last class that he discussed about primitive communism, Asiatic mode of production, and he discusses about feudalism. He discusses about capitalism, socialism, and communism, so and so on. So and how we use this, these are all the parts of the understanding through the understanding of political system, right? So similarly, Weber also talked about various systems of authority, right? As we discussed in the last class, the traditional authority, charismatic authority, rational legal authority, and so on. So the concept of political system, this plays an important role in trying to understand the concepts of theoretical concepts as well as empirical concepts in political sociology discourse, right? So like that, so when it comes to the definitional aspects of political system, right? So what is a political system? And in fact, there are various scholars, who have attempted to understand the meaning and definitional aspects of political system. So let us have an understanding about them. For instance, and you have a Robert Dahl, and in fact, he says that what is a political system? So he says that a political system is any persistent pattern of human relationship that involves to a significant extent power, rule, or authority, right? Similarly, and David Easton, and he talks about the political system as, and he defines as a political system is a set of interactions and which is an abstraction or from the totality of the social behavior through which values are authoritatively allocated for the society, right? Similarly, the conscious, particularly the Oxford Dictionary, which defines the political system as the political system in any persistent pattern of human relationship that involves or to a significant extent power, rule, and authority. So it says that it is a collectivity of political institutions that is government, association, that is political parties and other organizations that performs its roles based on a set of norms and goals, right? So sociologically, therefore, the term political system refers to a social institution which relies on a recognized set of procedures for implementing and achieving the political goals of a community or society, right? So this is the meaning of political system. So, and after having an understanding of these definitional aspects of political system, let us have an understanding the features or characteristics of what constitutes with the concept of political system, right? So, and particularly one of the features and characteristics of political system is uh, the first characteristics of political system is that it allows the legal authority to use force. Particularly, you take the example of a state, right? The role of the state is the political, where the prime example that the state in the modern society it uses its force with a legal dimension, right? So it has a legal dimension to use the force. So, that is one of the major characteristics of political institution. The political institution, particularly the state, the government has got a legal dimension, right? It has got a legal dimension to use force, right? So it possesses legitimate and heavy sanctions and rightful power to punish and those who commit mistakes in society. So those who performs and advocate social evils in society, right? So it has a power to punish them. It has a power to punish criminals. It has a power to punish deviants in society, right? So this is one of the major characteristics of political institution when it comes to the government is it has the legality. It has a legality per dimension, right? It has a legality dimension to punish the deviants, to punish the criminals, right? And those who disturb the harmony of the society, isn't it? So, consequently, we have to agree with Max Weber that legitimate use of force is a distinctive feature of modern political system. It's a legitimate use of force. It has got that legitimate use of force, which is a distinctive feature of political system. So what is a distinctive feature and why we are using that legitimate use of force? Because state uses its power when it comes to our Indian state, for example. So what is a state? State means that it's a police, right? It uses its force to to maintain the social order, law and social order in the society, right? So it uses its legitimate power, which is written in the Indian Constitution, right? It derives the legality power from the Indian Constitution, and then it imposes its will on the people. Why it imposes its will on the people? It imposes its will on the people for the maintenance of the social system, for the integrity of the social system, for the bringing social harmony in social system, isn't it? So, therefore, the modern political system, that is a government, has got a legitimate use of force, right? So, this becomes a distinctive characteristic of modern political system, right? So, in other words, when the state or government extends certain facilities, then at the same time it imposes power to, impose taxes. For example, it imposes its power to collect taxes from the people and to punish those who violate the social orders and norms of the society, isn't it? So that's a one of the major characteristics of a political system is the state has the power to use the force in legitimate form, right? So, and the second characteristic is that, and about the social interactions, for example, that interaction, is another defining characteristics of political system. So, what it means? It means that the political system includes interaction between all the formal and informal institutions. I repeat, the political system includes the interaction between all the formal and informal institutions. The process of interaction is divided into, I mean, the three phases, I mean, according to the literature. So one is the input and conversation, then output. To put it in simple words, that uh, uh, when I'm using the word formal institutions, the formal institutions are the government, right? So how it exercises its power, how it exercises its functions, for the maintenance of the political system. It has its own departments, right? So it coordinates between the departments. It interacts with the departments. So there are a lot of interactions and dialogue process that takes place between the various departments. And through the interactions and and enforcement of that force comes into picture, isn't it? So and another defining characteristics of a political system is interdependence of parts. As I said that, just to maintain human body as a system, there is what is important here is the interdependence of various parts is a must. Because if one part doesn't function well, so other, that leads to another parts. It affects the functions of the other parts. That leads to the total destruction of the system. Similarly, when it comes to the political system, so what matters is the another defining character feature is that interdependence of various parts are a must for the system to sustain and exist, right? So this interdependence means that when the properties of one component in a system change, obviously all the other components and as the whole system will also lead to changes, right? So in the political system, the political parties having a wider base and mass media, right? For example, and this political parties, they use the mass media. For example, they have a television sets and the radio and newspapers and other social media platforms today that change the performance of all structures of the system and affect the general working of the system. And now you may see that the role of social media plays an important role today, and it also not only affects the functions of the political system, but also it brings also lot of disturbances. For example, one fake news, if it is being circulated on in the social media, for example, that can lead to communal clashes, right? Between various religious groups. So suppose if there is viral, among the fake news, that actually creates a lot of disturbance in the society, right? Therefore, this among the political system, this when I'm using the word interdependence, this media also should play an important role for the maintenance and integrity of this system. Suppose among the social media, if someone creates a nuisance, someone creates a puts a viral post in the social media, what it happens? It affects the whole system, right? Therefore, among in the political system, the media plays an important, because who handles this media? It is a different political ideological groups, isn't it? And if somebody, if one particular ideology group doesn't like the functions of the government, and it may also lead to a different role altogether. However, the functions of the political system, where when it comes to the role of the media, has its a positive function also. Suppose it can rebuild the democracy. It can rebuild the democracy. It can strengthen the democracy, and it can bring a lot of communal harmony in democracy. Therefore, the role of the media plays an important role. Suppose if role of the media doesn't play well, it leads to a lot of social disharmony in the society. It leads to the destruction of the social solidarity in society, right? It leads to communal rights. It leads to a lot of social problems in society. Therefore, among the social institutions, yeah, this role of the media plays an important role in manufacturing the consent of the people. right? The manufacturing the consent of the people generally changes very speed, and particularly now we are in the age of internet, we are in the age of globalization, the modern science and technology, and we are, of course, we are in the age of artificial intelligence. Now this is very challenge for not only the government but also the civil society at large, that how to handle this, how to handle this. And you have another issue of cyber crime, for example, right? This if one particular system creates a problem, it leads to a total destruction of the system. Therefore, among the political institutions, the role of the media plays an important role. The role of the political parties plays an important role. The role of the pressure groups and peer groups plays an important role. In order to maintain the integrity and strengthen the democracy in society, right? So and therefore the role of the political system, among the characteristics of the political system, this interdependence of various political institutions plays a very crucial role for the maintenance of social solidarity in the society. Therefore, the interdependence between various parts are must. Interdependency of various political institutions are must, isn't it? So, and another future characteristics of political sociology is, comprehensiveness. What does it mean? It means that political system is comprehensive because it includes all the interactions from the formal as well as the informal institutions in the society. For example, it includes the interaction of regionalism, regional upheavals, inflation, party politics, the tactics of pressure groups, and social changes brought by the other, modernity, and so on. So this is where the political system is not a small system. It is very comprehensive system because it has everything. In the sense, what? Everything in the sense it has both, the formal and informal institutions. It includes, the government, as we said, the non-formal institutions are there, pressure groups are there, and again in these various ideological groups are there. All these groups, they work in interaction. Whether that whenever I use the word interaction, it is not merely a harmonious interaction, but also an interaction that takes place through debate and discussion, right? So, among the characteristics of political system, these the comprehensiveness of political institutions. Is it? And and another feature of characteristics of political institution is the change of boundaries, right? So this is yet another aspect of the system is the change of boundaries. The political system consists of interacting roles of nationals, subjects, voters, the legislators, bureaucrats, and judges, and so on and so on and so on. The same individuals and who perform the role in social and economic system also play their notable role in the political system, right? When the individuals from form interest groups or vote or pay taxes, they change their role from non-political to political ones. So what I'm here indicating, the change of boundaries here indicates that in the political system, nothing is static, nothing is fixed, nothing is permanent. For example, right? No role is permanent. For example, what I mean is that suppose I may be a voter in the political system, right? I may elect somebody, by exercising my vote, but but I may not remain in the same vote as a voter. I may also become a minister or MLA future, right? And somebody may elect me, right? See, the my role position has got changed, right? Now, today I may be a voter. Tomorrow I may become a political leader, and where other voters elect me. See, my role has got changed from being a mere voter to the from contesting from a particular region, isn't it? So there is an interchange of roles. There is a possibility of interchange of roles. This possibility of interchange of roles is a basic and most important characteristic of a modern democratic nation state. It was not like that, in the feudal period or ancient period, right? Right. But here, in the modern sphere of politics, a person can become anything if his will, exercises in a systematic and dignified and democratic way, right? So, for example, a son of a auto rickshaw, right? A son of a auto rickshaw can become an IAS officer to me, right? In the democratic space, there is a possibilities of interchanging the roles. A chief minister, once he loses the power, he becomes a voter. He becomes a voter. A voter can become a chief minister. That is in the democratic space, there is a possibility of interchanging of social roles. This is a very basic and most important characteristics of a modern nation state, because it allows the democratic space. It allows and provides the democratic space for the citizens to perform their roles, right? To perform their roles. Therefore, the boundaries in the social system, political system, is not fixed, right? It is an interchange from one role to another, because the democratic political system, provides an opportunity for all the voters and the citizens to become what they want, of course, under the umbrella of democratic system, right? So this is the major characteristics of political system, right? So therefore, the main functions of a political system, as I said, that it maintains the integration of society by determining norms and making them universally applicable and implementing them and and it also imparting the punishment for those who violate the social order, right? So how it does through its political institution. It passes its orders, and it makes the citizens to aware, to get them acquaintance, with the political norms and set of standards, so that they won't violate the rules and regulations in the political system. you know Therefore, the functions of political system is to maintain the integrity and to make sure the functioning of interdependence of various political institutions in the society. That, of course, the ultimate goal is to bring social harmony. The ultimate goal is to bring social solidarity. The ultimate goal is to bring mutual cooperation. The ultimate goal is to strengthen the political democracy in the society. So this is the major forms of political institutions in political sociology discourse. All right. And after having understanding about this, and what are the types of political system, right? What are the major types of political system? So according to Edward Shields, this is one of the very famous and well-known writers and philosopher in political sociology discourse. So according to him, that there are three main types of political systems. What are they? Right? And he says that the first system is the totalitarian system. The first system is called totalitarian. And the next system is called oligarchic system. And the third system is called the democratic system. We will discuss what are they. right? So what is totalitarian? What does it mean? That you take the example of ancient, uh, 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 power structures, for example. Can anyone imagine a democratic space in the ancient period? No, because there was no democratic setup at all. And king used to exercise his power, right, where everybody has to follow that order. And there was no the concept of dissent at all. And if somebody comes and questions the authority of the state and the authority of the king, he'll be punished to death sometimes, right? So uh, uh, those are the main characteristics of totalitarian system. Totalitarian, it's an absolute, dictatorship kind of, authority, right? In other words, a totalitarian system, a system in which the state controls and regulates all phases of life, right? Which is considered essential for perpetuating its power, right? And for carrying out its programs and policies arbitrarily, right? And it is the most extreme form of authoritarianism. Unlike democracies, where a variety of groups struggle for a voice in the government, the government dictates the society's values, ideology, rules, and forms of government. As I said that in the totalitarian system, there is no scope for people to come for a protest, to question the government, right? And societies having totalitarian systems do not permit, as I said, they do not permit the platform for dissent. They do not permit the stage to protest, right? Because the centralized authority always dominates over the autonomy of the individual or groups in the society. The freedom of expression of the individuals is suppressed in the totalitarian system, right? And we can quote, the example, best example is Mussolini's, in Italy, for example. Hitler in Nazi's Germany. Stalin again in Soviet Union. So are often quoted as the best example of a totalitarian system because they exercise their power and willpower, and they exercise their will on the people, and where they didn't allow people to exercise their voice in the democratic space, uh, they as because they exercise their complete will, they suppressed all forms of democratic space in society. Therefore, those societies are called totalitarian systems. Those societies are called totalitarian systems. Okay. Uh, uh, totalitarian states are ruled by one political party that organizes the citizens into a unified group. In practice, the state is represented by a politically powerful ruling class or elite that dominates all other interest groups. So, in totalitarian system, there is no concept of other political party because there will be only one political party, and he will remain in power forever. And he thinks that this entire society, and he wants to categorize this entire society into a uniformed category because, and he wants to create such a stage that where no one is allowed to question his rule, question the authority, Therefore, those systems existed, at least till 18th and 19th century times. And particularly, the Nazi government existed till 1940s, 1940s. Particularly after 1940s, there are many nation states that got independence. And, particularly when it comes to our India also, we got independence in 1947. And not only our India, but many nation states that came into existence and in demanding for the freedom and autonomy to rule themselves, right? So therefore, in totalitarian system, there is no concept of for the people to come and question the system because there is only one dictator who will rule the entire society and exercises his power and force for the maintaining of the society, under his leadership and control. And the next stage, next type of political system, is called oligarchic system. So what is oligarchic system? Is that it indicates that any form of government in which there is a rule by a few. For example, the members of a self-regulating elite having domination over a large society is known as oligarchic, political system. It is a system in which a small group elites, who rules and holds the supreme power over a larger society, right? And the third type of a political system, is called a democratic system. Is called a democratic system. Uh, so, what is a democratic system? Here indicates that democracy is not only a form of government, but it is a way of life in which an individual feels free to act within accepted boundaries of norms and also equal in respects of his or her rights. In the narrow sense, it is a form of government or a power structure in which people govern themselves. People participate in the government through their representative, right, that they elect. So, and in the democratic system, people come and question the system. It provides a scope for a dissent. They participate in movements, political movements, social movements, and who seek their equal share in the political democratic setup, right? So, this democratic system, which is a modern type of a political system that allows the people to come and open their voices in seeking for the equality in political, economy, and social domains, right? However, friends, just think, just reflect on this point that when it comes to an Indian state, can we say that our society is democratic? Yes, our society is democratic. But can we say that our society is not free from oligarchic system? Certainly, it is a question mark again, because even today, our society is controlled by few dominant sections and who control their supremacy over all citizens in the country is a matter of question and debate in the democratic system, right? Therefore, there are three types of a democratic system. That one is the totalitarian system, and the next one is the oligarchic system. And in oligarchic system, only few elite groups controls the entire society. It is the elite and wealthy class that who controls the entire society. And whereas in the democratic system, it is the people who govern themselves, and it is the people, they have the choice to elect their representatives. They have the choice to dethrone the elected representatives. And it is through the democratic space, and more particularly that we have a free and fair elections for every 5 years. So we have a right to dethrone those government. So we have a right to reform the government with another political ideological group. So therefore, this democratic space, it allows the people to exercise its will, to exercise their freedom, to exercise their freedom of speech, freedom of thought, and freedom of participation in political domains, right? So this is called the democratic, system in a third, which is a third and which is much more advanced form of a political system in political sociology discourse, right? So, and after discussing this, so what is a democratic character? For example, just to elaborate our understanding that in modern times, no political system can be either permanent or stable. This is the meaning. This is the meaning of democracy. Can we say that? Suppose those who are in power, right? For example, when we talk about the Indian government, right? Can we say that the Modi government is permanent? No. Modi's government and choices is tested and retested for every 5 years. If a citizen like his performance, he will remain in power. If a citizen doesn't like his performance, they have a chance to elect somebody else. And we have a chance to elect and re-elect, from the Gram Panchayat onwards. So from the village onwards, to the state assembly to Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. So we have a chance. Therefore, since elections are held for every 5 years, there is a scope for changes in the government. Therefore, no government is stable, no government is permanent in democratic system, isn't it? So, and another thing is that uh, this awakening of every section of society, where the systems have, rapidly started changing, and new systems are quickly attracting the attentions of people. So this is also another major characteristics of democratic setup, right? And in fact, it was this social awakening, and in fact, the Karl Marx also talked about that, and in fact, Max Weber also talked about that when they differentiated the transition of various societies from one society to another, particularly from feudalism to the capitalism. It was the an educated elite class, who played an important role in awakening the society altogether. In fact, that led to the participation of various people in the mass movements that led to not only the mass movement but also in a form of the developing towards a revolutionary setup that brought down those totalitarian systems, and where it allowed the space for the emergence of a modern nation state, right? This is where the democratic system allows the agency of an individual to question the authority of the structure, to question the authority of the structure. And it questions the authority not only about the structure, but also if it wants any changes and reforms, and the individuals will have the power to make adjustments in the society for the and the social system for the maintenance of social harmony and social integrity in society. So this is another important feature of democratic system. Therefore, therefore, uh, the democratic space in the social, economic, and political system, it began to be considered as most notable and valuable, right? So, as we have seen that particularly in the Western world, and 17th and 18th centuries, it is known fact that the Western world fought two world war. For example, we have First World War and we have Second World War, and in a bid to save democracy, in a bid to strengthen the democratic systems. In fact, that led to the emergence of various modern states in the world, right? But again, the democracy's system lost the imagination of the people after some time. In fact, this is also another problem. This is also another problem that we are facing today. There is a democratic crisis because the marginalized, the weaker sections' rights are being curtailed. The individual's freedom of speech is again curtailed. So when this happens, the people come to the streets and ask for their rights, and ask for their demanding in recognition of these rights under the rubric of Indian Constitution. Therefore, this democracy not only provides a space to make the society much more democratically, but also it allows the people to exercise their will, to exercise their rights again under the norms of the Indian Constitution, isn't it? So this is where the nature of democracy and democratic system plays an important role in the political system. Therefore, the political system, what we have discussed so far is that the political system, which refers to a social system, that relies on a recognized set of values, procedures for implementing and achieving the political goals of a community or society. Therefore, this political system plays an important role for the maintenance of social integrity in society, right? Uh, uh, no, as I said that there is no political system can either be permanent or stable, and this is a dynamic, which is a dynamic character. What is the most stunning character in the democratic politics is that it allows for the space of a dynamic character. It allows for the space of a dynamic character. So it is not a, in other words, no political system is either permanent or stable. As I said that, for every 5 years, the governments keep changing, because the voters have the choice to elect and re-elect the government. Therefore, our Indian government, why we are celebrating, in India, Republic Day. We are celebrating the two national festivals every year, right? That one is the Independence Day, that is August 15th, and January 26th is the Republic Day. So, what is Republic Day? The Republic Day indicates that, so we are celebrating the implementation of Indian Constitution. We are calling our constitution again and again and again as republic. What is mean by republic? Because it is the public which is re-elected the government again and again, again and again. So therefore, our society is called republic society, because our governments are formed by the elections, by the people, right? So this democracy, which talks about the freedom of exercising of people and their rights for the maintenance of integrity and social order in society. So in a way that those actions, those social actions, those political interactions are in a way which makes the way for strengthening the democratic space in the society, right? So, friends, so with this understanding, we will end the class. So, in the next class, we will be discussing, so what is political process and what constitutes political socialization, and how these political processes and the political socialization influence the maintenance of political system for the betterment and maintaining of the integrity of the political system. Those aspects we'll be discussing in the next class. Till then, have a good luck, and thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much.